welcome to the But Did You Die podcast. This is Darren Boot Clark coming to you live from the mean streets of El Lago, and we are going to be talking about overcoming adversity and pushing through that and moving on to do successful things and creating success in your life. And today I am privileged to interview Jose Seminario. He is a fraternity brother from Delta Tau Delta SFA, Axum Jacks, and he's gone through a lot in his life and come out on the other end. He's got a great story, I've known him for over 20 years and just now realized he's lived all over the world. Some of the most remote places, the most dangerous places, the most beautiful places all at the same time. So it's really cool. Without further ado, Jose, welcome to the podcast.
Thanks, Boot. Glad to be on here. Honored that you called me, reached out to tell my story on here and help you launch this awesome podcast.
Well, thank you. Yeah, I'm honored as well. So we'll start out a little light. Tell me about what was your first car?
I had a 1979 Toyota Celica Supra that was shit brown color.
Nice.
It was an awesome car, straight six. I bought it for $3,000. I worked my ass off at the golf course to buy it for my senior year, before my senior year started, and it was a great car. I wish I would have kept it now, because you don't see those things on the road anymore.
No, you don't. What is the best childhood memory of a Christmas?
Dude, Christmas. There's so many. Back when we were in Venezuela, there was Christmas down there is real different. I mean, it's not cold, it's tropical. So you have a lot of fireworks all the time. Like when it comes around Christmas time, everybody's shooting fireworks all the time.
Okay.
And you could go outside, you could smell it,
Sure.
And that was always pretty special. And, and over there we waited, we did Christmas at midnight when I was a kid. Yeah. And so, you stay up really late, open presents, and then go to bed with your presents all around you.
Sure.
And it was always really cool waking up in the morning and playing with them, so.
That's awesome. Yeah. We got to do one gift on Christmas Eve, and then the rest in the morning. So, and if you see my glass, it's my But Did You Die podcast glass. My wife gave it to me. I've got water in it, but it's I'm a teetotaler myself, but it's a bullet that doesn't go through all the glass.
Oh, nice.
So she gave that to me when she found out I was going to start the podcast. So that's my thing. Anyway, great. Well, let's just jump on into it. Jose, if you would, like I said at the beginning, it's a podcast about overcoming adversity and coming out on the other side and, being better for it. If you could, would you please tell your But Did You Die story or stories?
Well, it's more like changing the way I used to live. And when we met in college, that was some wild times.
Absolutely.
And we had a great time, but
yeah,
they were kind of wild times. And I don't know if you can recall, I was kind of like the one that was getting into trouble, like from drinking too much. And as the night, like in the parties, as the night got along, you sort of didn't want to be around me so much, because you just didn't know how I was going to react to something,
And you're not a small guy. I mean, you're a big guy. I mean, I'm a big guy, but you're built.
Yeah.
And a bunch of 21-year-olds. And you were what when you were in 90? How old were you?
I was 21. Yeah. No, I was 90. I was 21. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. But I mean, you're in shape, and you're a bigger guy. So yeah, hard to control, just like me.
Yeah, and mind you, I joined the fraternity to slow down, because I was playing rugby before that at SFA, and rugby was crazy. Rugby was as close as you can get to Animal House.
Absolutely.
Especially our GPAs for the most part, for most of us. So like getting into the fraternity and getting my grades high enough to join the fraternity was a big deal. But I remember one time, like after my first year at SFA, one of the guys who was a huge partier, drank every day, just about, one of the older rugby guys, he just pulls me aside. It's like, dude, you got to be careful. You're going to start, you're going to get a DWI. You're going to get busted. And a week or two later, I did, man. And,
Really?
he got the phone call like, dude, come get me out of jail, and that was sort of the beginning with something major. Like, I got arrested my first semester there for being out drunk and stuff, PI. But, I thought that was normal. I thought that was
Yeah.
that was what everybody was going through at the time, and the blackouts and all the stuff. And I had my first blackout at 16 when I was going to boarding school in Switzerland because, we were in Saudi before that for the people listening. And after ninth grade, the Saudis are kind of smart. They don't want hellraisers hanging around. So they kick all those teenagers out. They have to go to boarding school. They can't go to school there unless they want to be homeschooled.
Oh, wow.
And I got the privilege of going to school in Switzerland, which was beautiful. And one weekend we went out, and one Friday night or something, went out and found a bar on the other side of town and had some really strong German beer and had my first blackout. I thought that was normal, and it's not. You're not supposed to be blacking out.
Right.
So, and in college, it was there, like after that DWI, I thought I wouldn't do it again, but by the end of the week, I was drinking again and driving, in a small town. But I mean, there's people around. I could have killed somebody else, could have killed myself.
You weren't scared, or you weren't nervous about getting busted again? I mean, that you didn't have a fear of the cops, that you wanted the alcohol more, or what? It was just partying.
Just partying. You sort of were scared. And one of the weird conversations, people that have drinking problems or drink a lot, they get into this weird conversations of how to beat the system, how to beat the test, how to react when you get pulled over and stuff like that. Stupid shit, because like, you're wasted. You don't remember anything,
Right.
It doesn't matter. You're wasted,
Right. Yeah.
And so, those are the conversations we used to have, or I had with people all around. And that was just kind of, looking back on it, it's just stupid and weird,
Right. Well, when you're 21, we know everything, right?
Oh yeah. God, yeah.
And we had a bunch of brothers that would back it up.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Somebody who's smarter than you in the house.
Right.
Oh yeah. So yeah. So I mean, and that there were so many close calls. I remember even after I got that first DWI, being stopped by the Nacogdoches police several times and let go.
Okay. Yeah.
And then we had that infamous trip to Shreveport one night. And I was just a crazy man. I was supposed to be the designated driver, but I started drinking when we got to Shreveport to where we're hanging out. And I got pretty blitzed and started driving back. And I'm going like 100 miles an hour through East Texas, those
Lord.
2-lane roads. And I got pulled over then. And, I thought I was going to get my second DWI that night, but it was DPS, Department of Public Safety. So, you don't mess with them.
They don't play. No.
Yeah.
No.
So.
Nor should they.
Yeah. Yeah. They're doing their jobs. But the weird thing that happened was that they put me in the back seat of my car and let somebody else drive. I can't even remember who else was in the car. It was so long ago, but that stuck with me, because I bolted, I hit my brakes really bad, and I bolted the tires really bad. So I don't remember, like, there was a while where I was driving the car and you could hear the fucking tires because of the bald spots.
Oh God. Yeah.
That was, yeah. So, after college, I was, first of all, I didn't graduate SFA because I got bored of partying up there.
Yeah. Okay.
I just got bored, and thank God I got a real job right away in the communications industry, and I started traveling a lot. Now, surprisingly, I was really good about not overdoing it when I was traveling because I didn't want to get in trouble. I want to keep my job.
Sure.
I don't know how many times I went to Vegas, but there was a ritual in Vegas though. You kind of got messed up the first night and then you cruised, the rest of the nights. But I always try to keep it under control when I was traveling. But when I got home, that was the problem. And, living with, the awesome fraternity brothers I had, we were always having a good time, you know, so it just seemed normal to be doing that all the time.
Right.
But looking back, it's just not, and I think, one of our brothers got sober before I did, and surprisingly, it started back at a weekend in Nacogdoches. We all went back for a big weekend, and he got in trouble, and
Okay.
that's when he decided to quit and get help. So that was in the back of my mind
Yeah.
when him and I would get together. I'm not going to say his name
No,
but
absolutely.
when him and I would get together, we would talk about it, and I was like, yeah, I'm not ready yet, not ready,
Yeah.
And then after my last drunk, which was with another one of our brothers, who I tried to throw out of the car, and he was driving. So,
Oh God.
yeah, that was the wake up call.
Gotcha.
That was like, okay, because it was time to, do something about the problem that I've been ignoring. Like I always hated, we always hate to hear somebody saying, yeah, you have a chemical imbalance, you can't handle your liquor.
Right. Yeah.
Like, no, I can handle it pretty fucking well. I don't pass out. I black out,
Right. Right.
That's
Yeah.
just the opposite. I disagree with you on that. I just do crazy shit when I get really drunk. And, and it wasn't good. My parents were worried to death,
Sure.
I mean, they were just incredible. I mean, when you're in a disease like that, you don't think about anybody else but yourself,
Sure. It's a very
So
selfish disease. So I've been told.
yeah, yeah. And I'm not saying don't drink.
Right.
No, I'll never say that. I mean, if it's okay with you, if it's not causing you any problems, then go for it. And if it is, you're the only one that can decide to do something about it. Nobody else can.
Yeah.
You know?
In my case, my body quit. So I had to quit, or one drop of alcohol, even mouthwash, kills me in 24
Wow.
hours. So at 35, it took me till 35, but yeah, it's a wake up
Wow.
call. But
Yeah. Well, and the cool thing is, alcoholics think a little differently, even after they've been recovered for a while. We're just a little crazier.
right.
So that's good that you don't have to deal with that. I mean, if you quit because your body was, and I remember you were always a nice guy, drunk or sober,
Yeah.
always.
Yeah.
You didn't have those issues, and most people didn't. There was a few of us that we can, looking back, it's like, yeah, that guy, yeah, but it's a personal decision, that
Right.
you got to, so, and kudos to you for staying alive,
Yeah. Hey, man. So what was it that flipped the switch? I mean, what made you? When did you hit rock bottom, or what?
The morning after my last drunk, waking up in my bed, not remembering how I got there because of the blackout, having a huge, it was worse than shame. Like it was just a deep hole in the pit of my stomach, just empty, shitty, crappy feeling that I never wanted to feel that way again. And knowing that in the living room, there's going to be some guys who are really pissed at me because I did something stupid. I don't know what I did, but I just know I did something stupid.
Yeah.
And, when I walked out there, and one of the guys was still ready to kill me. And they explained to me what happened. And of course, you can't believe that. I mean, I can't believe I would do something like that.
Right.
But I did. It wasn't me. It was a drunk person that was out of control.
Sure.
And so I started looking at that and had to take responsibility for that. And that day is when I made the decision.
Wow.
And
So you woke up ready.
yeah,
That's awesome.
because the seed was already there. And it's kind of funny because, like, getting in trouble in college, I think that's when that movie Clean and Sober came out with
Yeah.
Michael Keaton back then. And for some reason, I was attracted to that fucking movie. I wonder why.
Yeah.
and,
Right.
and then before I quit drinking, I bought a VHS of My Name is Bill W., the story of Bill and Bob, the guys who started Alcoholics Anonymous. For some reason, I had that, and I
Really?
watched it and I liked it, and then all of a sudden I got sober soon after that. It was pretty soon after that. So
You think that was that? Looking back, that was God knocking on your door.
yeah. Oh yeah, totally.
Wow. That's powerful right there.
Totally. I mean, I don't know how many times I get close to driving drunk in a blackout. I mean,
Yeah.
because I was the kind of guy that you weren't going to get the keys.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
You were just not. If you try to go for my keys, there was a fight.
Right.
There was there was just going to be that. And when you're in trouble, like you don't know you're in trouble with it, but you start doing all this crazy management things. And one of the things that I did was, I remember at a New Year's Eve party, I was 20, right before I turned 21. Good friend of mine from high school had a big New Year's Eve party. So I get there early so everybody can park behind me so I don't have to drive drunk, so I can stay there that night. Well, I drank so much that night that, I got into a fight with one or two people I didn't even know, and ended up in the hospital and then jail.
Oh, God.
And to try to control it. And I quit I quit after that for about 9 months until, I joined the fraternity, and the peer pressure gets to you. So
Sure.
it's really important for anybody who's trying to stay sober or trying to get sober to have that support group,
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. So you decided to get help, and did you have any relapses, or did you just, once you committed, you went straight on? I mean, you're pretty headstrong, so.
They gave out chips in AA,
Right.
and I guess I'm a one chip wonder, one desire chip. But huge but, I don't know how many times I tried quitting by myself.
Yeah.
Like you'd quit on Sunday afternoon after the hangover,
Oh, yeah.
I'm not doing that again. And then by Friday, start drinking.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I wasn't an everyday drinker. I was a binge drinker, like a party drinker. And looking back, drinking was more social for me. I didn't like drinking alone, but, going out with everybody. And then, once the shots started coming out, then it was like playing Russian roulette. You just didn't know what was going to happen,
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. And SFA from Thursday to Sunday, you're partying. Really Wednesday, because Wednesday started when we were in school. Wednesday started it really. Thursday, they didn't have tests after Thursday because they knew for no Friday people would show up.
Yeah, I didn't care about tests.
Yeah, right. I didn't the first time either.
Well, I
it
mean,
was such a great school. I went back twice.
Yeah, I mean, I was, and like I said, I started playing rugby, so
Yeah.
that was weird because rugby back then in my first semester, they would have a social on Wednesday night. Every Wednesday night would be a social, and it'd be at the rugby house. So
Yep.
and the rugby house was like, 3 or 4 guys living together. That was the rugby house. And then Thursday night was Drink and Drown at Studio 225. I don't know if you're here for that.
No.
And then Friday night was Crossroads, and then Saturday was a game, and then party after the game. So
yeah, and Sunday football. Yeah.
Yeah. So I mean, like you're looking at pretty much 5 full days of partying.
Oh yeah. We got Monday to Wednesday to get some studying done.
Yeah. So
wow, that's awesome. So, and talking to you beforehand, you mentioned that God really wasn't a part of your life, and this isn't a religious program, but it plays a big part in your life, right? So, and in my life as well. You found God through the program, and you felt like he was kind of knocking at your door. You just weren't ready for it. And then you figured out you were ready. Tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah, I've always believed in God. I'm not one of those people that has a hang up on God. The
Right.
hang up is reversed. The hang up's on me. Like I don't deserve. That was my thinking back then. I don't deserve God because I'm doing all the stupid shit. That was my thinking because I always believed in God. Not religious at all.
Right.
And it's okay if you are or anybody else is, I might get there
each
someday.
to their own. Right.
Yeah. And, I grew up in a Catholic country in Venezuela. Yep. So, but, those guys in robes scared me when I was a kid, and my mom was Catholic, but she was like, you just, when you get older, you pick what you want. It's like, okay. And then moving away and going to Muslim countries, and I saw religion as a restriction.
Sure. Okay.
And then going to school in East Texas, there's a church in every corner, always across from the bar, kind of thing.
They say you can get saved on the drive-by.
Yeah. Excuse the fire department. They're just saying hi to me every time I go by. Anyway, so I believe it was there. I just didn't have I just hadn't developed a relationship. And
Gotcha.
one of the coolest things about, the program, it's actually a spiritual program,
Yeah.
is that you're allowed, they show you, like, just come up with your own concept, and go from there.
Cool.
And since I got sober to now, it's changed dramatically. I mean, it's just gotten better and better and better. So
That's awesome. So
incredible.
how long have you been sober?
23 years.
Wow.
Yeah.
So right after you left, pretty much close.
A few years after.
Yeah. That's awesome. Congratulations.
Yeah.
So,
Thanks.
so let's talk about what you're doing now. I mean, what is your, so partying was kind of a hindrance, and it was causing friendships, and it was causing, jail time or whatever. But since then, since you've gotten sober, tell us about the success piece. I mean, there's a beautiful story there too.
Well, looking at the career path I took out of college, I went into satellite communications, and I got to start traveling a lot here in the US and working on a lot of cool shows. And soon after I got sober, I went to work for Fox News here in Houston, which was really cool.
Yeah.
Back then, and even though I came from one side of the broadcasting satellite communications industry and straight to the TV broadcasting, and learning all that stuff, that was incredible. So many big stories we covered. I mean, a lot of things has happened in this town, a lot of bad things, unfortunately. But major stuff, and being the guy that was at the station, making sure that all that video came in and got out, that was pretty cool. In the middle of it, and the way to think of it is like, whenever you see that shot, when the hurricane's here, the reporters out there, bouncing in the wind, doing her stand up.
Yeah.
Back then I was the guy that made sure that we got that back in house.
Okay.
And sent it out to, Fox News or whoever we were working with,
Absolutely.
So that was really cool. One of the coolest things that happened to me right after I got sober was the Olympics in Atlanta. That was, we got a brother that lives over there. And so I just went out there for like the second week, and that was after the bombing that had happened.
Yeah.
But being down there, not drinking, because Atlanta was a party town. Atlanta for me, it was like, Buckhead back then. It was partying all the time. And we used to make trips. I remember going back there for New Year's too,
Right.
And just to have a good time, So being over there in that city with hundreds of thousands, maybe even millions of people around you downtown from all over the world, and just having a good time, like not having to drink to have a good time.
Yep.
That was pretty amazing. Really, really amazing, So, and just more traveling. I mean, like I said, I used to work with the WWE also, like as a second gig.
Really?
And that comes from staying sober too. I wasn't going to get that job. It was fucked up,
Yeah.
And I was with them for 14 years, working on all their pay-per-view shows. And
oh my gosh, that was during the heyday of The Rock, Stone Cold Steve Austin.
Well, let me put it this way. I remember my first show that I did for them.
Yeah.
And it was, I think it was in North Carolina, Columbia, North Carolina or something. I can't remember. It's been so long, but we had like this rinky dink satellite truck where I was working in, and they had like an old production truck, in this old arena. And I see the guys started coming in, and I remember The Rock distinctly as he came in. He got out of a taxi. He was wearing shorts and pulled his bag in, and soon, I started watching the show, because I wasn't like a fan or anything.
I was huge. I tried to be a wrestler right out of college and didn't work out. But yeah, I was big into it. When I found out you were doing WWE, I was like, oh my God. And you were meeting these guys. That's when Rock was young. I mean, he was young. He had a full head of hair, and he wasn't what he is.
He had hair. He was starting to get popular. Steve Austin was the man when I
Yeah.
started. And then, you know, as time went on, you know, in those 14 years, I mean, they just shot up. I
No.
mean, you know, they're, you know, the Rock, like he doesn't go there in a cab anymore or an Uber. He's got the biggest limo or a
Yeah.
bus, you
And he's
know?
got a jet.
Yeah. You know, and watching that company grow so much,
Yeah.
like last time they were, last time I saw them here, I just went and visited with those guys, and they're just, their operations humongous now because of the success of their network that they have. And you know, and just seeing the guys, you know, they've been working with those, you know, the main crew,
Right.
it was great because you see them grow so much, you know. And I was part of that. I watched, you know, a good chunk of that, so that
Sure.
was really great, you know.
So tell me, so what are you doing now, Jose? I mean, kind of wrapping it up. Tell me what you're doing now and what's your goals now, and then if there's any message or something that if you have to leave somebody with one or two things, the audience, what would that be?
You know, it's taken me a long time to get this, but the main thing for anybody is to make a difference for somebody else.
Wow.
Make a difference for somebody else, even if it's just a smile.
Yeah.
You know, just start with that. Just smile at somebody.
Right.
You know, and to answer your question, what I'm doing right now is I'm doing a lot of online marketing,
Okay.
internet marketing, some network marketing, and I'm also going to be helping out my cousin and her husband with their new consulting company. They have a trucking consulting company.
Cool.
So, and be helping out with dispatching and stuff like that. Cause you know, that's what I like about working from home, man. You can do whatever you want when you work from home.
Oh, absolutely. So you're
So,
you're totally free to do whatever you want when you want.
sort of, you know, the money's still coming in,
Well, yeah. Yeah.
you know, so yeah, so you got to hustle, man.
Well,
But the main message is, yeah, you know, definitely, you know, uh, make a difference for other people, you know, just like you're doing right now. I mean, this is a perfect example of that.
well, thank
You
you.
know?
I hope it takes off because I think that there's a need to get. I find that this just telling your story is healing for the person telling it, but it's just as impactful and important that people are inspired or motivated to make that change or to know that they're not alone.
Yeah.
And that's what I'm hoping this is all about. Because I'm interviewing real people that, I mean, I've been making a list of all the people that I want to interview, and I've got my dream lists way up here. But I'll tell you what, some of the biggest stories are the people like you and fraternity brothers that have gone on to do great things, but not without just as big a struggle on the back end, right? And it's, I mean, I will say the fraternity was a lot about partying, and we've got friends for 25 years now, right? But we'll pull each other through whatever it needs to be. And I believe that we look at our circle of influence, and there's a lot of people that have been impacted through various different ways. And at the end of, we were just at a party you and I both don't drink. We were at a party last spring, and it was the Crawfish Boil Bog and Grog, which is the biggest party in Nacogdoches. And we had just as good a time. It was great reuniting with everybody. So that's what I mean. It's amazing, and it's awesome to see that, and just reconnecting is huge. Cause like, what was that? I can't remember the dang professors that helped start, Delta at Stephen F. Austin. He said, you're going to marry him, you're going to bury him, you're going to see their kids grow up. So choose your brothers wisely, right?
Yeah.
And I think we've done a very good job of doing that. So, well,
Yeah. I think I took his class one time at SFA. It was
yeah.
pretty cool.
Well, Jose, thanks so much. It really means a lot that you were willing to tell your story and get it out there. And you've done a lot of amazing things, and it sounds like you're rocketing on to a lot more things in the future. Again, I appreciate your time and for coming on the But Did You Die podcast. And I hope you become a subscriber.
Thanks, buddy. Thanks for having me.
You bet.